After the last white paper, I received several questions about how I set up a cybersecurity compliance documentation folder. So I thought it might be helpful if I follow up that white paper here with a quick video to just walk through how I might structure that for a typical firm. Of course, each firm is going to be different, but I think this is kind of a good template overview. So to start with, I'll have one folder that contains my policies and procedures that are firm wide. So I'm going to have an employee and firm technology use agreement between each of my employees and how they're going to use firm IT equipment. I'm going to have a firm-wide cybersecurity policies and procedures manual, again, that dictates, how we're going to run the compliance program, how we're actually going to be scanning and checking vulnerabilities, etc. And then I also keep my vendor confidentiality agreement template in here. So anytime I bring on a new vendor, I have them fill out the confidentiality agreement, sign it, I save it in this folder. Each year, my employees, I'll have them go and attest and sign that they received these documentations, and I'll put that signed document there. I also, for my annual audits or my annual risk reviews, I recommend kind of breaking them up into each folder, separate them by year. So for example, if we look at 2020 here, first thing I do is I save the databases. So in the white paper, we talked about using Nessus to run a lot of these vulnerability scanning operations. So anytime I do that, I'll save their databases here. Nessus saves in a .db, OpenVAS, and some of the other ones will save in different formats, but whatever they are, I do archive those in their own database. Then I also archive my full reports for each office. So for example, if we look at the Austin office, I'm going to have a folder for network maps. And in that, I'm going to, let me make this a little bit bigger here. I'm going to have several network maps that I made going through the scan. I save each map. It's just me, but I save it in 3 different versions just for, I've seen the SEC request all 3. So I'll save them in an HTML, I'll save them in an XML, and I'll save them in the normal Nmap format. I also take pretty extensive screenshots when I go through, so I'll save all the screenshots in one folder for that location, and then put the raw documents or the PDF reports. I'll put the raw ones in here as well. I do that for each office location. So if you have multiple office locations, just do one for each folder. And then I also do a similar folder, but for external assets. So that's where we scan things like emails, client portals, websites, whatever you may have that's external facing. I'll save those here. And then I finalize it each year that we do an audit, or if you have custody, and you're doing it quarterly, whatever. I'll save an executive summary here, and that's where I go through and just outline everything that I found per office. Any vulnerabilities, I'll list out, a synopsis, put a description, offer a solution. Of course, we assign a risk factor that the SEC likes to see. And then, of course, just provide a little bit of a solution and a screenshot, for what we found. And so, once I've gone through and made any updates, I'll simply take this document and go through and enter some comments with Adobe Acrobat and say, this vulnerability fixed such and such date, documented over here, and then save this as an additional file up until the point where I've gone through and fixed everything that needs my attention. So anyway, I hope that video helps. If you're missing any of these templates or anything like that that we have, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to send them over to you. But anyway, thanks again.